From the deep south to the far north, or at least as far north as the contiguous United States goes. Hey all, this is episode 165 of the Dorky Geeky Nerdy Trivia Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Rollins, and this week we're featuring the great state of Maine. Are you ready for 3 rounds of 10 questions each? Well, you better be, because we're getting started right now. The Dorky Round. Number 1. What best-selling horror writer was born in Maine in 1947? Stephen King. Number 2. The Treaty of Paris in 1763 gave control of Maine over to the English from what other empire? The French. Number 3. What author of The Courtship of Miles Standish was born in Portland, Maine in 1807? Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Number 4. What actress from the Twilight movies, Up in the Air, and Pitch Perfect was born in Maine in 1985? Anna Kendrick. Number 5. Maine is home to only one national park. Which one? Acadia National Park. Number 6. How many U.S. states border Maine? Just one, New Hampshire. In fact, Maine is the only state to share a single U.S. border. Number 7. What is the state animal of Maine? The moose. Number 8. Maine has over 60 of what coastal structures? The oldest is in Cape Elizabeth. Lighthouses. Number 9. Mainers burned a shipment of British tea 1 year after what Massachusetts event? The Boston Tea Party. Number 10. What Charlotte's Web and Elements of Style author is buried in Brooklyn, Maine? E.B. White. The Geeky Round. Number 1. What Canadian province is east of Maine? New Brunswick. Number 2. What is the capital of Maine? Augusta. Number 3. Former President George Bush had his summer home in what Maine town? Kennebunkport. Number 4. Freeport is home to what outdoor clothing company? L.L. Bean. Number 5. What Italian navigator led the English to land in Maine in 1607? John Cabot. The settlement failed due to the harsh winters. Number 6. What actor was immortalized to Gen Xers with a fist pump at the end of The Breakfast Club? That'd be Maine native Judd Nelson. Number 7. Born in Bar Harbor, Maine, who was Gerald Ford's vice president? Nelson Rockefeller. Number 8. We already talked about New Brunswick, but Maine borders what other Canadian province? Quebec. Number 9. When the United States was first formed, Maine was part of what state? Massachusetts. Number 10. Maine became its own state as part of what agreement? The Missouri Compromise. The Nerdy Round. Number 1. At the age of 15, Chester Greenwood, a resident of Maine, patented what cold weather gear in 1877? Earmuffs. Number 2. What city is the easternmost point in the United States? Eastport, Maine. Number 3. Before Augusta, what was the temporary capital of Maine? Portland. Number 4. In order of admission to the United States, where does Maine rank among other states? Despite being on the East Coast, Maine is the 23rd state. It was admitted in 1820. Number 5. Disney's Pete's Dragon takes place in what Maine fishing village? Passamaquoddy. No town by that name actually exists. However, the name was borrowed from one of the local tribes in Maine. Number 6. What former governor of Maine became Abraham Lincoln's first vice president? Hannibal Hamlin. He was also the first Republican to hold that office. Number 7. What director of over 100 films, including The Quiet Man and The Grapes of Wrath, was born in Cape Elizabeth? John Ford. Number 8. What board game magnate and publisher was born in Vienna, Maine in 1836? Milton Bradley. Number 9. What word appears at the top of the seal of Maine on its flag? Dirigo. It's the state motto and means I direct. Number 10. The oldest incorporated city in the U.S. is located where? York, Maine. It was incorporated in 1642. And we're back. Cold? Yeah, it gets a little bit nippy up here in Maine. It's one of the states on my to-visit list. It looks beautiful and very different for a kid who grew up in the western U.S. We'll be back again next week with 30 more trivia questions and their corresponding answers. Here's a clue. Which U.S. state is the only one to be an independent republic? It's a big one, so be back here next Wednesday. If you need more fun with trivia, please visit the show's website, dorkygeekynerdy.com. You'll find quizzes and our podcast store. Get a Dorky Geeky Nerdy shirt, mug, or whatever. This has been episode 165 of the Dorky Geeky Nerdy Trivia Podcast. The music was provided by Jason Shaw at audionautics.com. I'm your host, Brian Rollins. You can find me at thevoicesinmyhead.com. Thanks for listening.